Welcome to the Shelly Company, where we make safety a family business. The Shelly Company and subsidiaries' tradition and reputation for professionalism has been earned over the years by the dedicated efforts of our employees. The responsibility for maintaining this reputation of excellence lies with all of us. It is a challenge that demands hard work and adherence to our safety practices. This presentation has been prepared for the Shelly Company and all subsidiaries and is intended to be a reference for job safety in all company operations. It is intended to help prevent accidents which could result in property damage or injury to you, your fellow employees, the public, and our customers. Very simply, this guide is a tool to assist and protect you in your work. Our employees and customers have been and always will be our greatest resources. The Shelly Company is dedicated to protecting its employees, customers, and the public from loss of life, limb, and property caused by unsafe acts. These guidelines are designed to help us achieve the ultimate in job safety and proficiency. Any comments or suggestions are welcome and encouraged for future revisions so that we may achieve our goals together in the safest way possible. It is the policy of the Shelly Company and subsidiaries to strive for the highest safety standards on our projects. Safety does not occur by chance. It is the result of careful attention to all company operations by those who are directly and indirectly involved. Employees at all levels must work diligently to execute the company's policy of maintaining safety and occupational health. Accidents occur because of either unsafe acts of people or unsafe conditions within the work area. The objective of this safety program is to eliminate and/or control these two basic accident causes. Each supervisor and subcontractor is responsible for the safety and security of employees and work areas under their control. The Shelly Company demands that OSHA, MSHA, and DOT regulations be observed and maintained as a minimum standard in all cases. Regard for the safety of the general public and our own employees is a top priority of all levels of our organization. By working together, we can prevent employee accidents, fires, property damage, and protect the general public insofar as they come into contact with our company. It is therefore of utmost importance that all aspects of our safety program are followed to the letter. The basic safety procedures of this program are general and may not include nor be applicable to all situations and conditions encountered. Therefore, be alert and exercise good judgment when circumstances arise that are not specifically discussed herein. If you have questions, consult your supervisor or management. Whenever a statement contained in this manual conflicts with any governmental codes, regulations, laws, standards, or procedures, such governmental guidelines will take precedence. All local, state, and federal regulations and laws must be followed even though they may not be included in this manual. Every effort has been made to make this information as accurate as possible. It has been attained from many governmental and professional sources. The contents have been edited and approved by the Corporate Safety Committee and the Shelly Company officers. The Shelly Company's parent company, CRH Americas Materials, Inc., has identified 3 safety core values. Those values are 0 fatalities, 0 incidents, and employee-driven safety culture. Our life-saving rules are included in these values as well. We would like to take a moment and discuss each core value. Core value number 1, 0 fatalities. These are the basic mechanics of safety that shall never be compromised. These require 100% compliance 100% of the time. These are known as the life-saving rules. These 14 rules make up our playbook to prevent fatalities in our work areas. Our second core value is 0 incidents. Some tools to help us achieve our goal are track, personal protective equipment, safe lifting techniques, 3 points of contact, management of third-party contractors, and proper tool usage. Our third core value is employee-driven safety culture. In order to continue to move our safety culture toward world-class performance, there shall be company-wide employee participation and ownership combined with management support regarding these specialized areas of focus. Training, coaching, behavior reinforcement, employee involvement, and engagement, 5S or workplace organization, team-based problem solving, See Stop Do reporting, and management support and leadership. The Shelly Company is asking each employee to see things differently by identifying situations or areas that may pose a risk or hazard. There is always time for safety. By taking the time to assess the risk and potential hazards, you are engaging in a practice that is just as critical as getting the job itself completed. When we improve our risk assessments, we are improving our likelihood of achieving zero incidents. Everyone is empowered to speak up when they notice an unsafe situation. When I see something, I will stop and do something. It's not simply a slogan. It is a call to action. Do something, say something, take action, make change, find a better way, and work differently. We all have a chance to make a difference. It is up to each and every one of us to make sure that we work safely and go home each and every day. This can only be achieved by participating and speaking up when a situation is unsafe. Here's how you can improve your day-to-day work environment. When you see an unsafe act, take immediate action to correct the situation. Make your comments constructive, not cruel. Determine how you would like someone to speak to you if the situation was reversed. At the Shelly Company, we have two policies that we take very seriously. These two policies are considered to be zero tolerance. The first, substance abuse policy. Any employee violating the Shelly Company's substance abuse policy will be immediately terminated. After discharge, the individual may be eligible for reinstatement after a 1-year period elapses from the time of termination if the individual A. receives the assistance of a substance abuse professional, B. follows and completes the recommendations for treatment of the substance abuse professional, C. agrees with the substance abuse professional, the drug treatment agency, or individual conducting the drug treatment program to release to the safety committee pertinent information concerning the individual's consultation, treatment, recommendations, and participation in any drug treatment program. In addition, the employee must agree to follow up drug and/or alcohol screening for 1 year in the event the individual is reinstated. And the rehabilitation of an employee discharged as a result of a positive test must be to the satisfaction of the safety committee before the individual can be considered for reinstatement by the company. The second zero tolerance policy is lockout tagout. The Shelly Company considers our employees' safety so important that we would rather terminate an employee than expose them to a potentially harmful situation involving a disregard or misuse of a lockout tagout procedure. Therefore, the Shelly Company has implemented a zero tolerance program which results in lockout tagout violators being terminated. Given the weight of this policy, if employees have any questions about the process and when it is required, please ask your supervisor or your division safety professional. It is better to ask, "What should I do?" than "What should I have done?" If it is reported that a possible violation of this policy has occurred, the employee in question will be suspended until a full investigation can be completed and a determination has been made. There is the potential that the supervisor may receive disciplinary action up to and including termination if it is determined that they have not properly trained their employees, knowingly allowed or contributed to the violation of the lockout tagout program by an employee or employees. When a violation has been deemed to have occurred in accordance with the zero tolerance policy, the employee, following a suspension and review, will be terminated and shall not be eligible for rehire by the Shelly Company or an affiliate or subsidiary or through an employment service or temporary labor agency for a minimum of 1 year. The rehiring of the terminated employee after the 1-year period shall be at the discretion of the Corporate Safety Committee. Anytime damage occurs to vehicles, property, or people, an accident has taken place. An accident or incident can happen within the confines of a project, at a fixed location, commuting to or from work, involving company personnel or property, and/or the public. An accident or incident must be reported to a supervisor as soon as it occurs. The division safety representative must be notified immediately of any accident that involves a personal injury, first aid, or an injury that requires medical attention, preventable vehicle, or yellow iron. A work-related injury or illness is a recordable if it meets any one of the following basic requirements: death, days away from work, restricted work or transfer to another job, medical treatment beyond first aid, or loss of consciousness. A significant injury or illness caused during normal working hours must also be reported to OSHA if a physician or other certified medical practitioner diagnoses it. A preventable vehicle incident, sometimes referred to as a preventable or PVI, is defined as any occurrence involving a registered, licensed, company-owned, or company-leased vehicle for which we are gathering mileage information that results in property damage and/or personal injury, in which an employee driver failed to do everything reasonably expected to avoid or prevent the occurrence regardless of who was injured, what property was damaged, and to what extent, or where the incident occurred. A preventable incident might occur on a public roadway, company property, private property, or on other property such as a construction job site or vendor property. To be considered preventable, the incident must occur resulting from the motion of the vehicle while the employee driver is at the controls and responsible for the vehicle's position. When the driver is out of a stationary vehicle and engaged in operating and maneuvering auxiliary equipment such as a mechanic's crane or a mixer chute, damage caused by these pieces of auxiliary equipment shall not be reported as a preventable vehicle incident. These types of incidents should be reported as a yellow iron equipment damage incident. The definition of a yellow iron incident is any event that involves any piece of equipment that has an engine for self-propulsion and is not a properly licensed over-the-road vehicle. An event is any incident which causes damage of any amount, including that to a third party. Any unsafe act or condition must be reported to the safety committee by an employee, supervisor, or division safety representative. The safety committee, after thorough investigation, including a conference attended by the violator, in person or via telephone, which may be conducted by the division safety representative or other designated person, will classify the violation as serious or other than serious. A serious violation is defined as follows: a safety violation where there is substantial probability that death or serious physical harm could result from the violation and the employee knew or should have known of the potential of such hazard. Any incident involving the backing of a vehicle or equipment that is under the control of the company driver is considered a serious violation. Serious physical harm is defined as follows: any type of harm that could cause permanent or prolonged damage to the body, or although not damaging the body on a prolonged or permanent basis, could cause temporary disability as to require inpatient hospital treatment. Any incident involving the backing of a vehicle or equipment is automatically considered a serious violation. An other than serious violation occurs when it is related to job safety and health, but probably would not cause death or serious physical harm. Reported violations will be recorded in the employee's personnel file and shall remain in effect for a period of 24 months. If an employee receives 3 serious safety violations within the 24-month period, his or her employment shall be terminated. 2 other than serious safety violations will be equal to 1 serious violation. Reemployment may be considered 1 year after termination. In addition, a violator may, depending on the magnitude of the violation, be subject to an oral warning, written warning, and/or suspension without pay based upon review by the Corporate Safety Committee. The Shelly Company is an at-will employer. Therefore, an employee's supervisor, after consultation with the appropriate division general manager and the Corporate Safety Committee, reserves the right to discharge an employee after any safety violation, regardless of severity. If a supervisor allows an unsafe act or condition, he or she may receive the same discipline as the employee. The majority of our preventable vehicle incidents occur as a result of backing our licensed vehicles. Backing poses a serious risk to others who are outside and/or around our vehicles or equipment. Our goal is to reduce and eliminate backing incidents and ultimately prevent serious injuries caused by such acts. Therefore, the Shelly Company has established a backing policy. This policy requires that when a vehicle licensed by the Shelly Company is required to back, a spotter must be obtained to help guide the operator of that vehicle. Employees are required to back into parking spots at any of our fixed locations. Whenever possible, use the pull-through method to avoid backing. This policy applies to employees and visitors at the fixed locations, whether he or she are operating a company vehicle or personal vehicle. When possible, position your vehicle so that backing is not required. Leave yourself an out. At no time shall an employee or contractor ever cross or stand between a backing truck and a paver. This area is deemed a no-fly zone due to its potential for fatal or life-threatening injuries. The purpose of the Circle of Safety or Check 360 program is to reduce the frequency of preventable vehicle accidents by encouraging our employees to perform a walk-around inspection of their vehicles or equipment and surroundings before leaving an area. Studies have shown that this walk-around procedure creates a level of awareness and alertness that has proven effective in avoiding this type of incident. More than just backing accidents can be prevented by performing the walk-around. Property damage can also be avoided by performing the Circle of Safety or Check 360. Vehicle operators often forget about stationary objects or obstacles and are usually focused on the task at hand, for example, driving. By being aware of your surroundings, you are less likely to strike a low-profile stationary object. Most importantly, this practice will help identify any persons around the vehicle in the immediate work area. Remember, walk around, observe, stop, look, and listen. Tools to keep you incident-free with licensed equipment and heavy equipment. Tool 1. Circle for Safety or Check 360 magnets are placed on our licensed equipment and our heavy equipment. These are to help remind us to conduct a walk-around to ensure there are no employees, bystanders, or fixed objects in your path of travel. Tool 2. If equipped with a backup camera, utilize the backup camera in conjunction with the rear view mirrors and side mirrors as an additional feature to assist you in identifying any people or obstructions in your path of travel. Tool 3. Leave yourself an out. When parking or positioning vehicles or equipment, always anticipate and ask yourself, can I get out safely and can my fellow workers exit safely? And Tool 4. Prior to moving, sound the horn twice, 2 quick bursts, to signal you are preparing to move the vehicle. This will warn anyone around the immediate area that the equipment or vehicle will be moving. Mobile equipment is utilized in almost all of our operations on a daily basis. It is imperative that both heavy equipment operators and pedestrian workers follow and live our best practices in all tasks that involve working around mobile equipment. Every year in our industry, lives are lost from backover, struck by, and caught between incidents involving mobile equipment. These tragic losses are 100% preventable if we utilize all of our tools and best practices each day at all times during every task. Heavy equipment needs to be treated with respect in regards to the ever-present hazards of large mobile equipment. Mobile equipment comes in varying sizes and each present their own unique hazards. No matter the size or type of equipment being utilized, there is one common denominator. They all have blind spots. The larger the piece of equipment, the larger the blind spots. It is equal responsibilities for all of us, whether operating a piece of equipment or working on foot around moving equipment to safely perform our tasks while utilizing our best practices, holding ourselves, each other, and fellow contractors responsible for safe work practices when operating and working around equipment. Some best practices include: utilize the 10-foot rule. Maintain a minimum buffer zone around all equipment of at least 10 feet. Remember the wave. Always make and confirm eye contact with equipment operators before approaching a piece of equipment. Spotters. Utilize a spotter when backing or positioning equipment, making sure spotters are visible in a safe area. Heavy equipment has the right of way in all of our aggregate facilities, hot mix asphalt plants, concrete ready mix plants, and work zones. All workers on foot are required to stop at a safe distance visible to the operator and wait for the equipment to complete their task. Equipment operators need to perform a check 360 or circle for safety before moving any piece of equipment. Never park or walk behind a piece of equipment at any time. Skid steers are beneficial tools, but they are also one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment to work around on foot due to the smaller size and maneuverability. We must take extreme caution when working around skid steers and not let our risk tolerance build and dull our senses to the hazards they can pose. One of our slogans is "Who's Got Your Back?" with the tagline, "We look out for each other." This not only applies to backing vehicles and equipment, but also entails looking out for our fellow Shelly Company family members and our contractors in all of our tasks. Remember, we are our brother's keeper. Basic personal protective equipment requirements. Always ensure that non-disposable personal protective equipment is maintained and cleaned thoroughly in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. All personal protective equipment must be stored correctly. Where personal protective equipment needs to be repaired or replaced, always inform your supervisor. In addition, you are required to have the correct personal protective equipment for your specific task and will need to ensure that it is available prior to beginning any work. All contractors, subcontractors, visitors must wear appropriate personal protective equipment as required. Eye and face protection. All persons are required to wear safety glasses, goggles, or face shields, or other suitable protective devices when in or around any company job, mine, or plant. Employees shall use the appropriate eye or face protection when exposed to eye or face hazards from flying particles, molten metal, liquid chemicals, acids, caustic liquids, chemical gases or vapors, or potentially injurious light radiation. A face shield shall be worn whenever there is a risk of injury to the eye, such as grinding, drilling, sawing, and when operating various power tools or machines such as weed eaters, power or concrete saws, drills, chippers, jackhammers, and power washers, which may throw particles. Photogray lenses, which comply with ANSI Z87.1 1979 for impact and shatter resistance and frame construction, would meet the requirements of this standard. However, these lenses do not meet the requirements for radiant energy generated during electric arc welding or gas flame cutting, and therefore are not acceptable for these specific uses. Additionally, their use while working underground or at night is not advisable because most photogray lenses respond too slowly to changes in light level and may not lighten rapidly enough to provide unimpaired vision when traveling from a well-lit area to a dark area. Safety vest policy. All employees that are exposed to traffic, for example, inside of construction work zones or working on foot at plants, at all times must wear Class 3 apparel outside of their clothing. The Shelly Company will issue only Class 3 vests to its employees. ANSI Class 3 apparel other than vests is acceptable. It is each employee's obligation to wear the appropriate high visibility apparel. Employees are responsible for the maintenance and the care of such apparel. During nighttime operations, it is imperative that we utilize additional items to help an employee be seen, especially for those working on foot. The additional personal protective equipment requirements are Class 3 vests, halo lights affixed to the hard hat, and reflective leg bands. Safety requirements for handling all hot liquid asphalt, hot emulsions, and tack. The following safety requirements must be followed by employees and outside contractors while in the act of line connecting, line breaking, and/or the unloading and loading of hot liquid asphalt. These also apply when performing maintenance work on a liquid asphalt system and also when handling, carrying hot liquid asphalt. Hot is defined as anything 120 degrees or hotter. These personal protective equipment requirements also apply to maintenance work, handling tar kettles, emptying of tanks, and quality control sampling. The following personal protective equipment is required while unloading or loading hot liquid asphalt or performing work on the hot liquid asphalt system: hard hat, safety glasses, face shield, thermal protective gloves, overlapping, sealed at the cuff, thermal resistant outerwear, long sleeved, cotton, leather, and etc. must be sufficiently impermeable and heat resistant, and etc. No outside contractor shall unload or load without permission from plant personnel. A proper risk assessment should be conducted to assess the hazards and minimize the risks. Parking brake must be set on the tanker truck and wheels chalked. Tanks must be pre-checked to ensure sufficient capacity to hold bulk load before unloading. Loading begins. After unloading, loading procedures are completed. Take precautions to ensure liquid asphalt is not accidentally discharged while disconnecting hoses. Tanker is empty, closing valves and/or shutting off pumps. In the event that a line is plugged, cold material, do not attempt to unplug the line with wire or other objects. Use appropriate methods to heat the line and follow hot work protocols where applicable. It is the responsibility of all employees and contractors to ensure that the necessary measures are taken to prevent injuries or accidental releases. Failure to follow these rules will result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. Use of mobile phones and other media devices policy. Mobile phones and certain electronic devices are important tools, but there are situations in which we must restrict their use to keep ourselves and those around us safe. This policy addresses the use of all mobile electronic devices at work, including but not limited to mobile phones, laptop computers, MP3 players, iPods, tablets, and etc. Mobile electronic device use must not distract you from your duties while on the job. Mobile electronic device usage includes phone conversations, texting, emailing, listening to music, and other activities that can cause a distraction. While communication is essential to our work, there are times when the use of mobile electronic devices is prohibited or limited. Reviewing emails or text messages while driving is prohibited. Using mobile electronic devices while operating mobile equipment is prohibited. Mobile electronic devices may be used only for navigation and voice communication while the equipment is in motion. Only communication that requires a single button push to start while the equipment is in motion is allowed. Otherwise, mobile electronic devices may only be used when the equipment is parked in a safe location, not in motion, and not in an operating gear, and with all loads and attached machinery secured. The mobile electronic device should be mounted or fixed so that it doesn't require the operator to turn his or her head to view the screen, thus taking their eyes off the road. No employee shall use an electronic device when they are crossing traffic routes, engaged in safety-sensitive work, or in areas where the site rules strictly prohibit them. Cell phone usage while driving should be limited. Exercise caution, be brief, and utilize a hands-free system. Use of electronic devices and two-way radios at a plant, operations facility, or job site should be limited. Utilize secure locations that are physically removed from all distractions and areas of potential hazards. Violation of any part of the company policy may result in disciplinary action, which may include a warning, loss of company vehicle use, suspension, or termination. It is human nature to take for granted our health and well-being when there are no negative consequences or effects in our day-to-day activities. We can lose sight of the hazards present in our work areas and at home, which allows our risk tolerance to increase and the opportunity for injury or worse to occur if we do not stay focused on the task at hand. Practicing our safe operating procedures and best practices while implementing controls for the known hazards and preparing ourselves properly for any unknown hazards. We must believe in our safety program at work and at home. Work-related serious injuries and fatalities do not just affect the individual person who is physically hurt, but there is a ripple effect. It's like dropping a pebble in the water and watching the circles spread across the pond. Those incidents affect family members, friends, loved ones, co-workers, neighbors, and the list continues to grow as the ripple goes outward, affecting more people than we probably know. That's the importance of being engaged in our safety program and making safety a family business. It's not just for your own safety, but for your coworkers, your company, and your family and loved ones. Let's all be safety leaders in our industry for the right reasons and remember our pledge. When I see something, I will stop and do something.